Security Halt podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan's Arms. Head to the episode description and check out Titan's Arms today. Taylor Bosley, welcome to Security Halt podcast. How's it going, brother?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. It is amazing to have a representative from our warrior tribe leading the charge when it comes to taking care of our health, specifically our 18 deltas. You guys are always the most rock star of our MOSs in the Green Beret world. You guys come to the team and you're immediately loved because you can deploy without an 18 Bravo. You can deploy without an 18 Charlie, but you can't do shit without an 18 Delta. And you guys are legendary. I mean, to go through that training and then on the backside, a lot of our 18 Deltas choose to become PAs. They choose to continue being a healer, a communicator, and a sort of a connective tissue from our community into the medical field. And what you're doing with your precision wellness medical practice is friggin' awesome. One thing that we don't talk about enough is endocrinology. Endo issues when we get out are one of the biggest problems that we're starting to figure. It affects all of us when we're coming on the backside. And a lot of times we hyper focus on PTSD, and that becomes like the overall thing. And we don't tend to figure out what's going on with our hormones, what's going on with our bodies. So today, man, I want to dive into that world and figure out how you're leading the charge to helping our brothers in this fight. But before we dive into that, what led you to become a Green Beret, man?
So I think like every young man's journey, you hit a point of where am I going to go next? What am I going to do? For me, it was 2 years in college and I really didn't have a purpose of what I wanted to do. Right now, this is 2005, we're in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm in college trying to figure out what I want to do. I had a loose idea of maybe I want to be a PA or something, I don't know, but I wasn't a good student. I wasn't a good student as far as like, I didn't have the discipline to study. I think a young man needs like a direction to go and something to motivate him to go there. So your brain isn't even formed yet at that point. So I'm just, enjoying college, doing the thing. And then I realized one day, like, I have to do something with my life. I worked at this bar in college and I started out there like as a bouncer and then became a bartender, typical like young man stuff, shenanigans. So I worked with a lot of guys who had been GWAT guys, initial invasion to Iraq, initial invasion to Afghanistan. I had a buddy who was like a ranger, third ranger bat that like jumped into Afghanistan, was like the 300 people in Afghanistan with tier one doing like, there are only 300 Americans there doing hits into Kabul, like right after a month after 9/11, so just amazing guys, there was super cool stories. I had a buddy who was a Marine that was like initial evasion in Iraq. And like, he was telling me how they're riding in their up armored vehicle. People were like, just shitting their pants, like literally like shitting their pants, like scared, crying, like just wild stories. And these are the guys I worked with all the time. And I just looked up to them. Like, I felt like so insignificant compared to these guys because they were have done such amazing things. And they're like still 20 years old,
Yeah.
It's just so wild. And so I really looked up to those guys a lot. And I had never really thought about joining the military. My dad was a Vietnam vet and he was always like, don't do it. Don't go in there. You don't want to experience what I experienced and that kind of thing. So I was always like, I never considered it. But then I was like, I got to do something. Like, I'm not a good student. I'm never going to, do this on my own. So I decided like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to join, but I want to do something medical and I want to do something like elite, and so there was some Air Force guy that I knew and he was like, you should be a PJ, bro. And so I was like, okay, let me go talk to the recruiter. So I go there and the guy's like, he's like, yeah, there's only like 300 spots, man, in the whole United States. So you're gonna have to like 6-month wait. I was like, screw that. So anyway, I got hooked up with a recruiter for the Army and I was I was talking to him about it and he was like, yeah, you could be a special forces medic where you could still be like a shooter and still do medicine and do that. I was like, okay, that sounds like a cool thing. I had no idea what I was getting into, I don't think many people do.
No,
because I didn't know any like Green Berets, I didn't know anybody like doing that job. So I was like, okay, so how long is it going to take to get me from civilian to Green Beret? He's like, oh no, it won't be that long. Now it's like 3 years, looking back.
They really sold it now, man. It's like 6
Back
months.
then it was like prime recruiting time, it was like hook, line, and sinker, you'll see the world, all that stuff. So, fell for it. Glad I did. But yeah, that's how I ended up here. Just long road, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I've had some friends that were 18 X-rays that went to the Delta pipeline, and there's nothing wrong being 18 X-ray. It's for everybody. If you have the calling, you go for it. But the funny thing is, like conventional guys, you have if you were prior military experience, you're in a conventional unit before, you've got a frame of reference for what it is to do soldier task. You know what to do. And I remember when I paired up, we got back. You're going into Robin Sage, and you're getting paired up with your 18 Deltas, and this young kid was shit hot on his medical stuff, just amazing. But he literally forgot every bit of tactical know-how. Like just fucking atrocious. Just
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
like,
know. It's hard to be
yeah,
good at both, right?
you gotta get on a team, get those reps in because my guy was struggling. It was one of those where it's just like, Jesus, man, like we jump into the exercise tomorrow. Like just be a good right rifleman.
Yeah, I know. It's hard, man. It's hard to do both, I guess. But yeah, it's rough, man. Some guys just don't get it.
No, no, but it's a great thing about getting on the team. You learn, you're paired up with everybody, and that's where you truly learn how to do your job,
Yeah,
and it never ends. Yeah, especially
I
with
had a really
deltas.
good senior medic who like dialed me in. That was
Yeah.
the my saving grace.
So you get to being a Green Beret, you do that for a while. Where did you fall in love with the idea of continuing education and really diving into this field and specializing in this, and specifically in hormones, and trying to like really understand this problem set?
Yeah. When I got back from Afghanistan, I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I want to be. I had like I think 40 college credits at that point. I was like, am I going to be a doc or a PA? And I just after working by myself in Afghanistan, just doing pediatric mass casualties and all kinds of like people blown in half, like just traumatic, wild things. I was like, I'm going to go be a physician. And luckily, my wife was on board with it. But I got married 3 weeks before I left for Afghanistan, by the way. Like,
Shit.
yeah, standard. Right. So I was like, just happy she was there when I got back and my bank account wasn't cleaned out. But no, she's awesome. And she's been through, she actually says she'd rather go through a deployment than go through med school. So that was, she's like, at least I know you're gone and like I can just do my own thing. But when you're here, you're more of like you're more of a problem. So it's the women are tough with it. But anyway, we went through that. So I got back from Afghanistan. We're talking 11, 10 is like 10 or 11 years of training after that, right? Because I had to finish my bachelor's degree. And then you have to do extra classes for pre-med. And then I did 4 years of medical school, 3 years of residency. So it spit me out of that. I'm what is I was 38 years old at that point and 37. And then we decided to move up to North Carolina to Southern Pines area because my both of my brother-in-laws are Green Berets. And so they're both of their yeah. So my wife's and we so let me just tell you this, man. I don't know if there's any more out there like this, but this is a pretty wild thing. So both brother-in-laws, 10th group guys, one 18 Charlie, one 18 Delta. And there's 4 girls in her family, right? So 3 of us are already married to the daughters. There's 4 girls. The last one right now, the youngest one, is dating a first group guy, and she's about to go out there. He's 18 Charlie. So 4 Green Berets, married to the only 4 daughters. There's 6 kids, and 4 girls. So they're all married to Green Berets. I always tell everybody it's daddy issues. That's what made them. Yeah,
How does dad feel about this?
he's like
Is he in counseling?
he's a Mormon guy. Yeah, he's just like I don't think he has a choice. He's a cool dude though. No,
Bless
we
that
like him a
man.
lot. He's
Bless
cool.
that man.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Dude.
No, it's cool. But anyway, I got sidetracked. But
Oh, this is amazing. This is perfect, dude. Like family reunions have got to be awesome.
man, you don't even know. It's so cool. Yeah, like the other side of the family wanted to like challenge us in paintball or something one time. I was like, let's do
Mm.
this, man. Prepare to die. So we yeah. So anyway, I get done. I'm in working as a full-time ER doctor. Like there was like this partnership. I'm in this group up here in like Pinehurst area by Fort Bragg. I'm going to like busting my ass trying to make partner and do this, working a ton of hours. And all of a sudden, and I knew about operator syndrome. I knew about the head injuries. And I thought like I could just power through it. It's not going to be me.
Mm.
I don't need that. That's not me. But then all of a sudden, like I had this crash of I couldn't sleep. I couldn't work out anymore because I felt like I couldn't gain muscle. I couldn't lose fat. There was all this like I don't know, I was irritable all the time, which was very unlike me, like naturally. And and my wife is like, "What's going on with you? There's something wrong." I'm like, "I'm good." And when you are a doctor or you are a PA or something, I think you think it's never going to happen to you because you're used to seeing it so much, and you're like, "I know the signs, like I know the stuff, like it's not me." Yeah, I'm a tougher than that. Like that's not for me. So I go to the VA and like my testosterone level, for example, my total was like 500, and the guy was like, "Look, you're good, bro. Like the range is like 300 to 1100."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't feel good, man. Like there's something wrong." So
Treat the patient, not the fucking lab
I
results.
know I talk about that, dude. You should be my spokesperson because I in my clinic I talk about that all the time. And then it's like, so there was this like pellet provider in town, and a bunch of my buddies went there, a bunch of military guys did, and so I just went there and I was like, these are my problems, boom, 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 and did all the like. I think I had 9 out of the 10 symptoms on the checklist, and I was like, I have nothing else to lose at this point. Like, just I can't even do my job. I can't fake. So he went ahead and put him in there and put the pellets in. It was like up router butt cheek, you're sore for a couple days. And the pellets started like kicking in. And it was like a slow, like imagine if you had a dimmer switch and you just like turn that dimmer switch on. And it started getting brighter and like things got brighter. My mood was better. Like I could finally sleep. My workouts were awesome. Like I felt like I did when I joined the army, like when you could just like stay up all night, you know, hang out with the guys all night and then never sleep, go do PT in the morning, like carry on with your day. I just had all this energy. I could gain muscle again. And this wasn't overnight. Like I'm not saying like this is, 100% guaranteed results, but over that year, I think cuz I was eating healthier, I was trying to sleep more. I was being more like consistent and like intentional about being healthy. As I did that, I just started noticing better and better and better. And I think it was that first year that just became my new baseline. And I was like, this is awesome. And my wife had got on hormones at some point. She had some bad postpartum and stuff with one of my kids. And so she got on hormones too. And like just testosterone. And I think we put her on thyroid a little bit, but she started doing so much better too. And she was like, man, this is what we got to focus on. Like, this is really helping people, especially like all we do is hang out with SF guys, like that's our community. So like my daughter's soccer coach is like, Sephardic instructor, it's like, it's cool. It's such a cool community. I know. So it's like, yeah, let's help these guys. And cause I see them and some of them are on testosterone, let's help them. So we started doing that. And then we opened our doors a year and a half ago, and it started helping veterans, SF guys, mostly is military guys, obviously, cause it's town, but we have a bunch of civilians. And then it was like, I fixed the operator, he started feeling better. And then his wife would show up and be like, "Hey, he's doing so much better. Like, can you fix me too?" And I like, "Yeah, of course." So fast forward a year and a half, we just hit 550 patients and we're literally like 49% female right now. So as a male only provider, like I was like, I'm so happy these women like trust me, to do their stuff because women don't want to talk to a man about their stuff, and I get it. It's just like the SF guys come to me and they'll come over from another practice and they're like, I ain't talking to no woman nurse practitioner about my stuff, like, and I get it too. I had a woman tell me, she goes, it's like telling a mechanic about your car troubles that doesn't have a car. Like he can't relate, and I was like, I totally get it. So to combat that, I've hired a female nurse practitioner who's coming on. She just started last week. She has 8 years of experience doing functional medicine and all this. She's married to an SF guy, fifth group sergeant major, like cool, super cool woman. So she's coming to help me out so I can handle that side of it. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. It's important to understand that the hormones and the issues that we're experiencing isn't just relegated to the men. Like this more than likely is affecting your wife at home, your spouse, your significant other. Like when you have a kid, that's a big toll. Your hormonal like balance affects you like throughout the entire pregnancy and then afterwards. Like I've seen it with my wife. Like even before we had a kid together, my wife dealt with issues, and doctors aren't always intuitive enough to run the test or want to run a test. There was like a million different prescriptions, soaps, and pills before finally some doctor was like, "Hey, let's check your hormones out. Let's figure out what's going on." And it's just like, fuck, for like several years. And then finally, one doctor was willing to say, like, "Hey, let's do labs. Let's take a look at this, see where your hormones are at." And it seems like it's always put on the back burner for providers when you're in the military. And the one thing that's always frustrating, you talked about a little bit, was you're in the normal range. You're in a normal range. You're fine. What does that mean to the guy on the team room that's just turned 35? He's been a high performer his entire military career, several deployments. He's got some aches. He's had some surgeries, and now he's starting to feel a little bit on the downslope. He can't do the normal run times he used to. He can't put up the weight that he used to. And he finally gets checked out, and they're like, "Oh no, your testosterone's normal." So he's like, "Oh fuck." Then the weight comes on. Then you're feeling self conscious. You can't get back to feeling your best, and it's like, but everything that you're being told is that you're fine. You're normal range. Like, what does that actually mean, though? What do the test results actually mean? That's one of the things I want to friggin' kill that myth of you're in the normal range. You're fine. Like, no, there's a big difference.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're describing like the quintessential SF guy, right? Or any kind of soft dude.
Yeah.
They get to that 35, 30, and I get them early and earlier now, which they're saying is like because we're exposed in utero to all these plastics and things and hormones. So
I was
it's,
hearing about that. Yeah, I've
yeah,
been reading about that.
it's wild. So, and it could be the stuff they spray on your crops. It could be the plastic in your water bottle. Who knows? Some of us are more sensitive to it than others. But there is a fact that our grandfathers probably had a testosterone in their 80s of 1,000, of total testosterone. And it keeps going down and down because if you look at the historically, LabCorp keeps shifting their total testosterone range lower and lower all the
Really?
time. Yes. So a couple years ago, it used to be a lot higher, and it depends on the lab too. So I use Access Labs in my office, but I use LabCorp nationwide for my patients. I'm licensed in 30 states, so I have patients all over the country, but their reference range keeps getting lower and lower. Every couple of years, you'll see, but a reference range is not normal. And when you look at a lab, it's not a normal range. A reference interval means that 98% of the men in your age group that LabCorp tests will fall between that left and right limit. Okay. So the left and right limit for LabCorp right now for a guy in his mid 30s is typically like 280 to like 950, somewhere around there. And it changes with age. It's kind of like the PT test, right? In the Army, it changes with age. What it is just you don't want to be on the lower end of that range. If we could, and total testosterone, I could get into that too. That's not really a good measure of like where you are.
Let's
But
do it. Let's dive into it. Break it all
okay,
down for us.
no, you got it. So total testosterone it's a good ballpark, okay? But it's a big range. Like so for my labs, for Access Labs, it's 300 to 1100. That's a huge range, okay? And you're not normal. That doesn't mean normal. A reference interval just means where the average is, okay? Now, let's say I'm me personally, I'm 40 years old, okay? I'll be 41 next week. I am my like when I look at my range on my labs, that's comparing me to every 40-year-old in my age group that Access Labs does labs on. Okay. Let's talk about that population. That's everybody at Walmart, right? So that is 50% of them are going to be overweight. 50% or 25% of them are obese. These are a sickly, unhealthy population. So I
Yes.
do not want to be compared to that. So if you were to draw like let's say a curve from like this is 300 and this is 1100 and you drew a curve and then we broke that down into thirds, right? I want to be on that upper third over here on that side. Okay. That's where I want my testosterone over there. I don't want to bring it higher in the 2000s, right? Because that's where bodybuilders are and that's where we're going to get a lot of estrogen side effects and things like that. I
Yeah.
just want to be on the higher end of normal. Now, that's labs in general, okay, with anybody. Total testosterone is a poor measure of where your testosterone should be. It's a good ballpark. I acknowledge it. I have it on my labs. For women, I'm going to stop ordering it altogether because women just hyper focus on it. And their doctors mainly are the ones that are like, oh my God, you have her in the man level. And I'm like, yeah, these women, like, first of
She's
all, the
squatting
man.
550.
Yeah, right. I know. I had a woman do that because she was taking peptides that her Green Beret husband was giving her. Yeah. So, and I
We'll
was
talk about
managing her
peptide.
hormones.
I want to dive into peptides later.
We got you, dude. I got you. Yeah. So anyway, the total testosterone is a big range. Okay. So you can't be like every man should be 900. That's BS. Like I don't feel good unless I'm 1200, like I need to be on the higher end of that. The reason being is you have two different variables. I wish I had like a way to draw this, but there's free testosterone and there's total testosterone. Free testosterone. So And there's also a protein called sex hormone binding globule. And this is a protein that's made in your liver and it floats around your bloodstream. And let's say I injected you right now in the leg with testosterone and it goes into your bloodstream. Sex hormone binding globulin is that protein that will bind up typically 90% of your testosterone. Okay. Now, the total testosterone is the sum of the bound and the free. Okay. The free testosterone is about the 10% that's floating around, hitting the receptors, turning everything on. It's making that cell do one of two things, usually send a signal or make a protein. And that's what testosterone does. The receptors are all over your body. So when it comes down to like what's more specific, free testosterone will correlate more with your symptoms. Okay. If you were like, Taylor, you have one lab to figure this guy out. He has all these problems, and you have to figure out his testosterone. Free testosterone. I would choose that 100% because it correlates more with your symptoms. Now, some people make a lot more sex hormone binding globulin than others. Okay. Now, we could pull your labs and we could pull mine. Your sex hormone binding globulin could be 30. Mine could be 80. Mine is around 80. So you're a cheap date when it comes to testosterone. You don't need a lot because you're not going to bind much up. When you inject it into your bloodstream, you're not going to bind much up. The remainder will end up free. And that's floating around, hitting the cells, turning everything on. For me, I bind up a ton. So I need a little bit higher dose than you do. See, there's a little bit of science that goes into this, right? There's a little bit of like, we have to adjustments. And that's like when if I had you as my patient, we would check in every once in a while. We would do labs. We would try to figure out what is your dose, because not every guy needs 200 milligrams once a week of testosterone. It's not how it is.
And I want to pause right there and speak to you directly to the audience. If you want to get checked out and you have questions and you want to know where your hormones are at, go to a doctor, go see a provider and get your labs done monthly. Make sure you're being supervised. Don't just go to, an unregulated source and get testosterone. You're not gonna get the results you're thinking of. You have to be informed. Go see a doctor, have your labs done, have this be prescribed to you, and do it the right way. Just want to throw that out there. There's been so many times I've talked to people and they've gone to these. If you Google testosterone, chances are you'll get an ad for it on Instagram from these providers, suppliers that will send it to you with no blood work, with nothing. We'll just send it to you. That's not an appropriate way to get this shit. An appropriate way to do it is to reach out to Dr. Bosley, have him run your labs, and then bring you on as their patient, and then you can get the right dose, the right recommended regimen, and actually be headed on the right path. If you seek out testosterone treatment from one of these ads on Instagram, like some of my friends have done, you're going to end up hurting yourself more often than not. It's not the appropriate dose. It's not the right stuff. Please be informed, go to a doctor, get your labs, and really know the truth. Once you're informed, it's like G.I. Joe. No one's half the battle. All right, back to Dr. Bosley. Sorry.
Cool. No, thanks for that plug, man. Yeah. You nailed it. So that's perfect. And I'd like to caveat what you said as far as find a doctor. Most doctors don't know how to do this. That's just the fact of this. Okay. We were not trained in medical school. I was not trained in residency. I mean, I'm an ER doctor, right? If your thyroid is super high and you're like on the verge of death, right? I can help you. If it's very low, I can help you. But like, what about us in the middle that want to be dialed in? That's not taught.
Be a specialist.
Okay? Right. And so I had to go do a fellowship that took me most of a year to learn how to do this in integrative medicine. And I've taken advanced bioidentical hormone replacement courses. I'm doing a peptide certification right now. So there's a lot of extra learning that doctors have to do. Is your doctor willing to put in the effort to do it? That's the biggest thing. There are self-proclaimed experts. I see housewives on Instagram prescribing peptides to people that are used for, it's so wild, man. I don't even know. It makes me so grossed out. This is like what medicine is now. But, I get people on the weirdest stuff. Back to your people, when you Google it, right? So these big ones are going to come up. I'm not going to mention them, but there are some people there's a lot of these that like guys are on, especially veterans, and I'll get them, they'll come to me. It's basically a sales tactic. So they'll get you on there and they're all on like the same thing. So they're on anastrozole like right away, or Ramidex is the other name for it, which is an estrogen blocker. And you're like, you didn't even check an estrogen on this guy. Why are you putting him on an estrogen blocker? He needs that to think. He needs that to have erections. He needs that to not have a heart attack. So why are we?
Exactly.
Why are we taking away the man's estrogen if we don't even know if it's a problem? So you're you're dealing with that, and then they're also on Clomid and clomiphene, which I see a lot. And then clomiphene is which we call a SERM. It goes up and blocks your estrogen receptor in your brain, tricks your brain into making more testosterone and makes sperm. So it puts people on that when they want to still maintain fertility. Guys like us, we've had our kids. Like, I'm snipped. I'm not having any more kids. I don't take that stuff because I don't need it. But they put every man on it, like just blanket, for which is crazy. I think it's like an upselling tactic. And then you have this guy who checks in with you, kind of like I don't know what you call, maybe patient navigator or something, who would call you and say, and he's not even a medical guy, he's a gym bro or whoever, and he says, listen, man, you need to be on this. If you want to be hard, like, you got to be on a BPC 157 and TB 500 and all these like peptides, which and then they'll be like, okay, and that's gonna be like $600 for that, and they just upcharge everything. You need to be on a GLP-1. You need microdose of GLP-1 because that's what bodybuilders do. It's just like, who comes up with this stuff, and who's letting them? Like, I've had a friend who told me he works for one of those places, and he said that these people are just like adding things on his license, like ordering things for patients. These are non-medical people, and I'm like, how in the hell is this allowed? Like,
That
there's no
seems,
regulation here.
yeah, one. That's right.
That's
The mid-episode ad break. This episode is brought to you by Titan SARMs. Head on over to titansarms.com to check out some awesome supplements and use my code CDENNY10 to get some money off when you buy your first stack. I recommend the SOCOM Lean Stack. You should try it today. Head on over there right meow. Oh, and check them out on Instagram at Titan Performance LLC. That's Titan_performance_LLC. All right, back to the episode. That's just that seems like a disaster waiting to happen. Somebody's going to die, and someone's going to be on the hook.
Yeah, I know. And what kind of long-term damage are you doing these poor guys? Like, and then they don't even know what's going on. So as far as education, what you said, so what would set us apart from most people is I spend an hour with you when we first meet. Sometimes you don't need, some guys are already on shots and they already have pretty solid, like, foundational knowledge. So we don't have to spend that long, but I offer you an hour, and I give you an hour because I need to dig into your medical history. There's some things you didn't write on that paper that I need to ask you about that you may have not told me or put on there. And we need to dig into that, make sure you're safe to go on it. And then I'm going to go through your labs with you in very good detail and explain everything to you. I will draw you pictures and graphs and things to help you understand why we're doing this and what direction we're going. And then we're going to go over the risks and benefits of it. Okay. So you don't end up 5 years from now and then you can't have kids because no one ever told you that testosterone turns your sperm off. Okay. So, and I have guys, unfortunately, in their 20s who've already came to me on testosterone, and no one ever told them that. And they're trying to have a kid and can't figure out why. Sad.
It's like we have to be able to read the research on our own. That's one of the things that we have to overcome, this idea that we're going to walk in and the doctor's going to know everything and they're just going to magically prescribe the right thing and the magic's going to work. There's nothing wrong with sitting down and doing some real research. It's easy. Google Scholar. Look this up. You can find out information about the studies specifically for your job in the military and how it's affecting your entire whole health. Like, the data's out there. You just have to be a little proactive, do some research, not be so fucking lazy. Go to the doctor's office with the information and be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. These are my symptoms. This is what I'm going through. Hey, I was also a Green Beret. How many deployments I've been through. There's all the symptoms that I have, the diagnosis I have. I would like to talk to you today about doing this. And if you're not going to a specialist, then understand that you're probably not going to get the best care and the best information. That's why you have to go seek doctors and providers that have that. It'll literally say on their, if you Google them, what their focus is. Like, when you go to Precision Wellness, like, it'll tell you that Dr. Taylor Bosley has this background and is doing this, and his wife is also in the clinic doing this. That's why it's important, man. Like, I talk to guys all the time because they fell victim to those scams on social media. And it's like, hey, man, like, you can see a provider. Well, there's nobody near me. Well, nowadays you can find somebody that's actually has licensure and is certified to work in your state via telehealth. Like, that's a real thing. And how did you find your way into that? Because I would imagine it's not the easiest thing to go through the added hoops and hurdles to try to get certified in so many different states.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother animal, man. We came to a point where our clinic was growing and we were like, my wife and I were like, what do we want this to look like? Because we have 3 kids. Like we're not, our main priority is to like be present. That's our thing. We've grinded, we have worked, we've been grinding for so many years. I can't even like remember how long, between 3 years of the Q course and then deployment and then straight into 11 years of training for this. It's like been
Yeah.
nonstop. And I'm like, we need to slow the hell down and figure out a way to like work and do this, but also be with the kids. So it's like this 1,500 square foot building we're in right now, we've grown out of like way yesterday, like we need a
Hell
new building
yeah.
yesterday. Like
That's a good
we're
problem,
growing.
man.
Yeah, it
That's a
is.
good
It is.
problem.
We call it positive stress, it's good. Yeah, I work in the ER one day a week still, just to keep it up and stuff because it's a lot. It's you don't use it, you lose it. So I do, and that's a totally different stress. Like that's
Yeah.
people are dying, like little kids dying and stuff like that's a whole nother stress. But this is positive stress. I think it's not. I wouldn't call it totally healthy, but it's healthier, I think, than what I was doing. So nothing's easy. Nothing's easy. That's for sure. But yeah, so we're growing, and we're building a new building right now. We're about to be locked in on it, which is cool down the road, and we'll be it's two levels, 4,500 square feet on the bottom. We're gonna 4,500 on the top. We're going to try to bring on hyperbarics and a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah. So we're actually
Damn.
bringing on stem cell next week. We're getting trained in that. So we have the only FDA approved umbilical stem cell in the entire nation. We have, Travis Wilson from the Green Beret Foundation now
Yeah.
works for Project Recon, which is part of CalBio.
CalBio, yeah.
Yeah, they're both coming. The owner of CalBio and Travis will come next week and then get us spun up. We're going to be the primary East Coast location for stem cell treatment. So pretty cool stuff there.
It's huge.
So we like the brick and mortar version. It's cool because patients come in and we get to see them. But then we get to a point where, are we going to grow? Do we need to open a location in Fayetteville? Maybe one in Wilmington, one in Tampa? I don't know. But it just seems more difficult than
Destin, Florida.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. We have considered that. No, I know that would be a perfect spot. But it's like, it's harder to manage and way more overhead to have a bunch of brick and mortar locations to provide pretty much the same service. I mean, the downside is I can't put pellets in you. I do a lot of pellets here, hormone pellets. I can't do that over the phone, right? My only option for you is creams or shots if we do online. And that's fine. But I'm one person. I can't be in everywhere. So I was like, how can we keep this under control and still reach the majority of people all over the United States? Is the telemedicine. And after COVID, it's really opened the door to that. So it's helped us be able to expand. So we chose to go the telemedicine route instead of going like more brick and mortar locations. And I feel like if I can't be there at that brick and mortar location like I am at this one, I feel like the quality kind of goes down there. So I feel like I can manage everything better if we just have the mothership here in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And then we have like, right now I'm licensed in all the big 30 states, so I'm in California, about to be in New York. I'm in Texas. I'm in, obviously Florida, but all these big states. And
What about Alabama?
I'm in Alabama.
Awesome.
Yep. So I'm in many states. I kind of I talked to my other online buddies. Titan Performance was one of them. And I was like, where do you see like the owner's a really, really nice guy. So he gave me some metrics on it and I kind of figured out where, because he has a lot of customers, and I kind of figured out where his guys were coming from. So that's how we figured out. But anyway, that's how we ended up with one brick and mortar location and then spread out nationwide.
That's awesome. And I want to go back and tap into something real quick because there's a lot of misunderstandings. So pellets. I've talked to several people that say that the best is still doing injectable, but I still have friends that are paying out of pocket in the military, in SOF, and they use the pellets because obviously when you deploy, when you're going on JSETs and CDITs, you don't have time to try to bring your testosterone because, hey, we're living in a world right now where it's not being prescribed to a lot of guys that need it. So guys are going out of pocket to get their blood work done, get their labs done to figure out what their levels are and getting diagnosed, getting that prescribed to them by other providers. So they're choosing the pellets. But I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews and misinformation maybe. Can you break it down to us on the efficacy, how it works, and is it completely comparable with the release versus and compare it to injectable testosterone?
I would love to. I talk about this all day long. Testosterone, there are 3 options typically for men: cream, shots, and pellets. Okay. different pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics, think about when you shoot a bullet, right? The trajectory of it. That's what that testosterone is doing inside your body. And so they all behave differently. Creams, I'm going to talk about that one real quick, and then we're going to knock it off the list because it's not really a good option for a lot of people. My dad, 25-year-old Vietnam veteran, lives at home, you know, doesn't have a wife there living with him. He's divorced. He doesn't have a woman. So he uses creams because I don't worry about him transferring that cream to anybody else.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's called transference. And when you put a cream on, specifically men, I usually have them applied to their scrotum because it absorbs better that way. And so you put it there, and then your significant other comes and snuggles with you, you're going to spread that to them. And they have done studies where even pulling the covers over can spread by vapor. So it can spread to the woman because they did that by testing her levels, and they were higher. So and it's really hard to keep it from spreading. So anyway, there have been case studies where like the dad rubs it on him and then he forgets to wash his hands and touches the child every night and to play with the child, you know, and then the child ends up with a armpit hair at 4 years old, and then it goes away. But that's what we worry about. We worry about the transference of the cream. So I don't offer it to a lot of people. I'll ask them their home situation, and you know, very few people meet that criteria for it. So creams are good. Women, I have a ton of women on testosterone cream because if she spreads it to her husband, she's on 1/10 of the dose. I mean, he's not even going to know. He might even thank her for the little extra boost, you know, you never know. So I tell him, I say, even if he goes down there and licks it off, it's going to be, you know, it's not going to do a damn thing to him. So it's fine. So let's, you know, knock creams off because that's not a really good option. Now we're left with shots and pellets. So shots, tried and true. It's been around forever. It's safe. It is a synthetic testosterone is what we call it, because in order to get that testosterone to hang out in your muscle or in your fat, depending on where you inject it, you have to add something to it. Now that something is called an ester chain. Now, the difference between, you've heard of a testosterone cypionate versus propionate versus enanthate. Those have different length of chains on them, okay? So you have this testosterone molecule with this little tail hanging off that makes it hang out in that fat. Otherwise, if I injected you with pure testosterone liquid, it would go into your bloodstream, be gone in a couple hours. You know, it wouldn't last. So that's how we make it last a week. And if you know, propionate is shorter acting. So that has to be added to it. So it's kind of a synthetic thing, and your liver has to break that down. And the same place, I could get into the weeds on this, but it does mess with your cholesterol a little bit in a bad way if you're on shots, but not, you know, it's mostly safe is what I'm saying. It's good as long as you dose it right. The downside of using too much testosterone is going to be too much estrogen, just like bodybuilders have that problem. Estrogen is good, but everything should be in a balance. And I don't like injection. The standard dose for a man was like 200 milligrams once a week. I think that's, most people like end up on that. And I think it's person dependent. It depends on your weight. And at the end of the day, this is a weight-based medicine. I am not a big fan of injecting once a week and getting that big spike up.
Big spike, yeah.
And then you're dropping it down. So your testicles release about, our testicles used to do it, it was 10 to 15 milligrams per day, typically, something like that. It's a low amount. So you don't want to dump 200 milligrams of testosterone in there because your body has to deal with that. Okay. It has to process it and all those things. So guys like that big spike sometimes because it gives them that big, like, I feel good, and that vigor and and that energy. But the problem is you're making a lot of estrogen at the same time, and it's not good to do that. So what I typically do is take that once a week and I just chop that dose in half. So I would do like 100 twice a week. And I would typically do it like every 4 days or something. And this is not medical advice. Like, if you want me to look at your stuff, I will look at your labs and your weight. And this is very personalized medicine. Like, I have guys on very different doses depending on how big they are, what their activity level is, and all those things. But most of my men are on a twice a week or every 4 days. So I'll do like half the dose, but just do it every 4 days. And instead of that big spike up and then drop, you get those two smaller spikes, is why I like it. And it keeps you up in that higher range a little bit longer. And anytime you swing hormones, you're going to have side effects. And I had a buddy of mine who he works here as like part-time. He's a veteran as well. But I requested to him, because he's been on pellets only. And I was like, do shots for me, please. Do it 1 month. I want you to do it once a week. And then the next month, I want you to do it twice a week, and tell me how you feel. Like, what is the difference, right? This is our own little study that we did. So the once a week, he was like, you know what? Like 2 days out from my injection, I'm really looking forward to that next injection. That was because you lose as that curve comes down, you're getting to that point where you don't have a lot of testosterone left. So maybe let's say you inject every Sunday, Friday and Saturday, you're really running out of juice. And so guys will notice that. Or if you do too much medicine and it's not coming down yet and you inject again, you're going to stack your
Yeah.
doses. So that's the problem with doing it for every 4 days or whatever. Every guy's different. I have guys that do it every 4 days, every 3 days. I have guys that do it 3 days a week. It just depends on the person. I have guys that do it once a week and love it. And that's how they've been doing it. And, it's very person dependent. I just will try something. And that's what good follow-up is for, is let me call you, try this. Let me call you in a month, see how it's going. Let's check your levels again, see where it's at. I like to check levels the day before they inject because I want to know what they have left in the tank. That's because if they're still at 1,000 total testosterone the day before, then we're going to stack again on them.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to end up with this higher and higher and higher dose. And then they'll call me and say, I have erectile dysfunction. I can't have sex. And I'm like, okay, we'll start over again. So
fuck, more problems.
Yeah, guys have two issues. It's like women will know if like a hair is out of place. The guys are like, if I can't work out and I can't have sex, like I can't live, but nothing else bothers them. They're like, I lost my leg. I don't care, like whatever.
That is 100% that the man. Even like if you overdo it, guys like, oh man, I really crushed in the gym. I don't feel so good. Take a day off. Like, oh man, I feel better now. Like first thing they want to do is like go right back to the gym. That's all we care. As we get older, like the only thing that really matters is, can I perform in the bedroom and can I continue working out? And if I got to take a day off, like, oh my God, my world's over.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to keep the guys on par like that. Those are the two main things. But anyway, like you're dealing with the shots, the up and down. It's really good for like bodybuilders who want to dial in their levels and keep them.
Yeah.
They'll do it more frequently, but they'll keep those little spikes all the time to keep their levels dialed perfect. And they do labs. I have a couple of patients that are bodybuilders and they're all over their labs all the time. They're coming in here like every couple of weeks, getting their labs done just to try to dial it in. You can do that. Now, pellets, I put a pellet in. What that is think about like a Tic Tac, like something the size of a Tic Tac, and it slowly releases. My pellets release about 1.7 milligrams of testosterone per pellet per day. For a guy your size, you would probably get, I don't know, 11, 12 pellets. Okay. I've had 8 pellets, 9 pellets, 10 pellets. I just been trying to find my dose. I'm kind of at a sweet spot now, but it releases a little bit of testosterone all day. It's where we put them is in the love handle on the men. A lot of places will put them in the butt cheek. I don't like that. I've been a patient of pellets for a long time and I had my butt cheeks. It just hurts really bad when they put it back there. Men don't have a lot of fat. Women all day, we'll put them back there. And women get like 1 grain of rice and we get like 10 or 12 Tic Tacs. So it's one time in their life where the women get off easy. They got to have the kids. They got to do it.
I got that space. I got that. I don't have that space for that.
I know some guys have both, if you got a badonkadonk and you have it, right? So you never know. So
I got a Hank Hill situation back here, dog.
Yeah, I know. You could go for either. You got a lot of real estate, Denny. Either way. It's that Latino,
Yeah. So love handles. I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Yeah. So the muscle, think about your glute muscles. You use them for everything. So if you we don't have a lot of fat back there. So you're putting that pellet, you're causing all that trauma in that tissue. And then you're going to go get up and walk around and it hurts. I remember like after I got my pellet in the first time, I was like limping around the ER because they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, yeah, I'm fine. So I don't know, like tell them what I got done. But then I did this pellet training. Eventually when I started doing this on my own, I went to this pellet training, thank God, that like does it a different way. And instead of putting a bunch of pellets like clumped up together in the butt cheek, we put them in the love handle, but then spread them out. Think about like trained cars, right? End to end. Because the more spread out they are, the better the blood flow is across the pellet. So the pellets are all, because pellets might last 5 months in you and they might last 6 months in me. It just depends. Typically men get 5 to 6 months out of them after we put them in the love handle, and the blood flows across them and pulls testosterone off of them. Okay. Just like your testicles do. So the more blood flow to your testicles, the more testosterone you're going to pull off of there. Now, if you're stressed out all the time, you're laying in bed and your heart's beating real fast. If you're a triathlete and you're training all the time, more cardiac output, more blood flow across that pellet, the quicker you're going to lick your lollipop, right? You're going to pull off that testosterone. You'll burn through them faster. So my powerlifter guys, I'll pellet them probably a couple weeks before I'll pellet everybody else because they'll burn through them faster. And they know that. So we just schedule their pellet sooner. It just depends on the person. I have guys who are couch potatoes and they'll get 8 months out of them. It is what it is. It's person dependent. And we really go a lot off symptoms. The labs guide us. I always say like the labs, this is an art and a science. The art is the patient and how they feel. The science is what are the labs? And we try to make those things mesh to try to get a good idea of what's going on and then guide the treatment. So the pellets are cool because you put them in there and you get this steady state, right? When you would inject testosterone once a week, up, down, right? It's going to be like that. With pellets, it's this nice smooth curve that goes like this and then slowly drops off. So the difference is you're doing that up and down. That up and down is occurring over half a year instead of 1 week, which is kind of cool because you're getting that nice steady curve. Now, do I feel my pellets drop off at around 5 months? Yes, I do. The way I know that is because I don't feel like going to the gym. I usually get that, like I explain, like testosterone gives you vigor, and vigor is like, I'm going to get up and kick today's ass kind of feeling. Whereas like you didn't have that when your testosterone was low. And I'll dread the gym. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go today. Whereas like today I woke up and, ran sprints. I felt good. I got my pellet put in 2 weeks ago. So I'm feeling good, but it does drop off, but it's not like when you're on shots and it just overnight, like yesterday I felt good and today I don't. It's like over 2 weeks or so, you'll feel it drop. So you get this beautiful, nice curve that goes up. I do labs at the peak and I check what the labs are there. And then I do labs at the trough. And I get between those two pieces of data, I can pretty much figure out what your dose is and what your interval is as far as your pellets. Pretty easy. Like you said, the military guys, awesome for deployments because most soft guys don't deploy longer than 5 months. So you end up popping them in there. They put them in. I just need a couple of days of rest after I put it in there so they don't end up getting infected, and then they're good to go. I'm working with a guy right now that's deploying for a long time, and we're trying to figure out like how we're going to do pellets and then shots, and we're trying to limp them along. So every guy's in a different situation. So that's how it goes. But yeah, they all have their pros and cons. There's no perfect way to replace testosterone. And we haven't even got into like enclomiphene and HCG and those kind of things like that. That'll just stimulate your body to make more. That's always an option too. But as far as testosterone replacement, like we're going to take over the system, I think shots and pellets are definitely the way to go.
Guys, check this out. Right now, you're listening to this episode with me and Dr. Taylor Bosley. And guess what? He is now a sponsor for Security Halt podcast. Head on over to the episode description, click the link in bio, and head to Precision Wellness Group and enroll and become a client today. Dr. Bosley has dedicated himself to helping individuals like us optimize their hormone health. So please head on over to Precision Wellness Group, become a patient, and get ready to start living your best life. Yeah, and it's important to understand that when you are with an informed provider, somebody that specializes in this, they'll be able to talk you through the best course of action, that's why it's important to seek out the right provider.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to connect with you and they want to become a patient, how do they get involved?
The easiest way is just find us online. It's just www.precisionwellnessgroup.com. On there, there's not many options on the website. One of them's contact. You just click contact, and then it'll come down with a drop-down form to fill out. Just put in your information, go straight to, and it'll email us immediately. And then usually within 24 hours, one of the girls in the front desk will get back to you and set you up they'll call you and talk to you on the phone and just to feel out what you're looking for, and then get you set up for labs. We do use LabCorp, and you can use insurance at LabCorp. If your insurance will cover it, that's always the option. Otherwise, labs are typically $180, something like that, to get going if you were to pay cash. So not bad. Just find a LabCorp near you. We're partnering with Quest too. I'm just trying to get all the stuff filled out to get an account there, just to expand the blanket a little bit. But it's pretty easy. You just go LabCorp, and then after that, once your labs come back, which is typically 5 days, you already be scheduled for a consult with me or one of my other providers, and we'll just we'll go over everything. So we spend that hour with you and get going, and then we'll figure out a good plan for you.
Heck yeah! And do you guys are you guys enrolled with TRICARE?
We don't do so. You can bill TRICARE with you can submit it yourself. But I don't do insurance at all. The reason being is if I did insurance, it would limit my ability to take care of patients. Okay. You might think that sounds opposite, but it's not. We've tried to use insurance before, but then they want to control what we charge and what they reimbursed. And then imagine I submit all this stuff to them and then they pay 70% of it, how am I going to pay a staff? Doesn't make sense. So we offer a fair price. I mean, to be on testosterone with us, and this is today, which is August 15th, and it could change, but it's $150 a month, right? That
really?
That's it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You pay for the consultation up front, which is an hour of my time, right? And I'll spend with you or my provider $200, which is a fair rate. And then From then on, it's $150 a month. That testosterone shows up to your door. It's it's like on auto repeat unless you change your dose. And you get your testosterone vial to your door, your syringes, your needles. That includes unlimited access to me. So if you have a question at any time, you can call and ask, right? We you can get on the schedule and ask me. You can send the chat. We have a secure chat through our EHR. And it's just, and then we usually talk to you about 4 times a year. We'll do labs typically twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. Depends on if you're new with testosterone. We'll do it more frequently, but that's typically how it goes. And we like to stay on top of it. But I mean, that's a cheap price to pay to get it done. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
what are your other options? You go to your
Yeah,
primary care doctor and they put you on some crazy dose where you're injecting like once every 2 weeks. You know, I tell
exactly.
people,
Yeah,
yeah, you've seen that. The army docs do
yeah,
that. They'll put you on it
that they
and
do.
they'll put you on like 100 milligrams. The guy's like 225 and they'll put him on 100 milligrams every 2 weeks. I'm like, do you understand you spend 50% of your life with no testosterone? Like it's gone after a week. Or you go do pellets on base and they're putting in these pellets that are like a quarter of the dose. And they only last you like a couple months, but they're free. So guys do them. And I had one guy that formed like a capsule around his pellets, but they didn't absorb. And then all of a sudden I put pellets in him. And then those pellets, that capsule like bust. And then it's called a seroma. It forms around it. And then he has levels like skyrocketed because of those. Yeah, it was wild. And so he's like, I'm never going back there. I'm like, yeah, I don't, just because it's free, probably.
Instantly transforms into Hulk Hogan in his prime.
Right. I was like, because we pulled his labs around that, and he's like, yeah, I felt a little different. I could tell. I was like, yeah, your testosterone's 2,000, dude.
Shit.
So yeah,
He
it's
had the best
crazy.
PRs of his life.
Oh yeah, he was crushing it. He was crushing it in the gym. He was like
Dude,
unstoppable.
that is a remarkable price. Me favor, pause right now if you're listening to this, go to episode description, take advantage of this deal today, folks. If you're a gentleman or a woman, no judgment. If you're whoever needs it in the audience, check them out because this is it's a remarkable price. So yeah, click the link in bios, head on over to Precision Wellness and get started today, man. That is an insane deal. Right to your doorstep, you get consultation. Damn, that is phenomenal. Hell yeah. Kudos to you. Because if you're listening right now, if you just cancel your OnlyFans account and get rid of fucking Battlefield 6 Ultimate Pass, you don't need that shit. Get a better diet, get back to the gym, get back to feeling good, get your hormone levels back to their optimum levels where they should be, and start living life again. The story of the broken veteran is up to us to break. It doesn't have to be your narrative. It doesn't have to be your story. You can start living better today. Big thing that we have to crush and we need to talk about, we need to come back, have you back on later. Oftentimes when we're dealing with depression, when we're dealing with feeling like we're just absolutely dog shit, nothing's good in our life, that's directly connected to our testosterone level in men. 100%. When I finally started getting help, I realized like, oh shit, like this is impacting my mood. This is impacting the way I think. Like this is actual clarity. You don't have to be on SSRIs for the rest of your life. You need to take action. You need to be informed, do the research, ask your providers to run labs, ask to receive a referral to somebody like Dr. Bosley, or just go see him yourself. $150 a month, that's more than the fair fucking price, in my opinion. So please take advantage of this. Don't wait.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of gray area out here in this industry, and it's unfortunately there's a lot of people taking advantage of people who are in that situation,
Yeah.
and it's sad. I know you don't have to charge people $1,000 a month to treat their testosterone, but there are people out there doing it, and it's just crazy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's the difference between me being a physician and the owner than being just like a business person owning it, which a lot of these places are. They're just like, how much money can we crank out of these guys? How many more patients? Like it's about the numbers, and that's exactly how it goes.
Well, you see it. Your people that are affected by this are, have lost their hope, have lost the ability to see a brighter and better tomorrow. They're willing to pay out whatever they can to get help, and I think there's something to be said about somebody from our community that's willing to step in, get involved, and do this job, man. And I think that speaks volumes. And yeah, just happy to have you on the show today. Proud to support you guys. Like I said again, if you're listening, pause, go to episode description. Click the links there. Where can we find you on Instagram and Facebook?
So Instagram, our Instagram connects to our Facebook, but Instagram would just be Precision Wellness Group is with the handle on it, and they can go on there and find it. We're working on posting more. I'm really looking at posting some educational stuff on there. I want to start a YouTube channel so guys can go and get like real evidence-based in education, not just some anecdotal Instagram influencer, which has become the norm. It's very sad. But yeah, they could go to our Instagram. We're going to start posting some more educational stuff there soon. Yeah, it's good. Just trying to do it all.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. The content world is a fucking beast.
Yeah, exactly. That could be my full-time job,
Dude, fuck, I wake up having to go directly to a computer to fucking make sure my shit posting. And but you know what? It's when I'm able to post good content, like the stuff that I do for the Special Forces Foundation, another shameless plug. If you're a Green Beret and need help, check out Special Force Foundation. If you like the memes, if you like the infographics and everything that I'm doing with the Know the Enemy and Kill the Myth segments I'm doing on there, know that all that information is coming from somebody that has gone through it, lived it, and is willing to do the research, willing to have individuals such as Dr. Bosley on here to talk about this stuff, because you need to be informed. Nobody else is going to come. Look, you're in the middle of a firefight. There's no QRF coming. So you have to be able to inform yourself with the information. So go to Precision Wellness Group online, check them out, and become one of their next customers and get to start feeling better about yourself, living better. Dr. Bosley, thank you for being here today. Thank you for sitting down with us and breaking some of these myths. I really appreciate it. And to everybody tuning in, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us some of your time, and we'll see you all next time. Till then, take care. Security Halt Podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan's Arms. Head to the episode description and check out Titan's Arms today.